Well, there is a theme, so not Jane, Tricia, what we all did during lockdown, and this is about what I did. I bought myself an ironing board. This is my teaching ironing board. If I was working as a visiting lecturer, below is the below, the mere crawling person on the sidelines. At Middlesex, where I was training teachers about academic writing. Now, the various important things is what we're going to do. I'm going to show you a video which is coming up now, which will say everything, but you will see this is the seriously important kit. And the way I arrange it is very important because this setup here will be, I believe, in the future, a replacement for this kind of desk here. I've been working with a chap called Anthony Basiel. He can't be here at the moment. He's busy teaching. And he's full actually. So he's very fine. Works for the pedant myself, and he provides the weight for all of this work. I won't tell you about my background because it will be in the video. But this is basically the way I have spent, 2 years in lockdown? Like this, what I know is my stool of knowledge. Because you can't use this for a chair. You have to be able to vary your height. You have to be able to vary your posture. You have to, and you'll notice that I'm not using like everybody else does. I am using a platform. Actually, you'll see in my setup, this little gadget here, which will all be explained, is one side. This is my teaching area here, but I need to use it. Here is my iPad, which is vital for the way I talk to students about their work. All right, so imagine, well, you see it all up here. I'm going to be talking about how school radio and broadcasting can, I hope, hopefully, be useful to HE hybrid teaching. I think I've done as best I can. Matt, will you care to play the video?
Session 2690. Education radio may inform HE hybrid classroom learning. I'm Mike Howarth, reporting 2 ideas. First, soft skills for engagement used in BBC School Radio, and second, the technology to apply them online. The soft skills and the home online setup on the left, those 2 images there in part 1, and then my colleague Anthony Basiel reports on upscaling those ideas to a university model on the right. Let's start. We'll quickly overview these soft skills: writing, speaking, self-editing across multimedia resources, audio and so on. We were only teachers when we joined school radio. We learnt on the job, just like you did, working online for the first time during COVID. Pretty scary. But I'm going to pick on 2 ideas we learnt: markup and speed reading. And I'll show you those in a minute. First, let's look at the technology. The home setup. See the ironing board, the laptop, the iPad and the switcher. More details later. And this is the upscaled lecture room or classroom. The facilitator's desk there is the home setup. It's able to control the cameras and organize the hybrid event, as Tony will explain. And the idea is those soft skills are the same as engagement. Now, let's just look at some of those soft skills in more detail. See those underlines for stress words and the slashes for the pauses. Those are standard practice learnt from actors. I believe I can easily keep the student listening once you have control over your voice. It doesn't matter if a student turns off their camera, you also speak to one person. You speak slowly, change pace, tone and feeling, and there is another trick. Look for the word in the red circle, the word observe. That's appropriate. Now, without moving your eye from that circle, observe as you use your brain to be aware of the words to the right. Just a couple of words. It needs some practice. Now, you can use this method of stretching your view so that you can read more smoothly. If you add both those ideas together, you've got something really powerful. But I hear you say, what happens when you have to work to camera? You all had to during COVID. A whole world of working terms here. Praxis, language used by camera crews, politicians and media professionals. But now, the key point to my presentation. It's all to do with self-editing. And I think the self-editing, which is changing from spoken words to written words and back again, is very familiar in education. I mean, look at this scene here. Students in tutorials with their tutor. Student reads out text. Tutor asks, what do you mean? Student tries to explain. There's discussion. The student goes away, self-edits, shifts the spoken word into clear written word. This is the kind of thing that we learnt, and particularly I learnt it also with some video journalist training. All morning, John on the right has asked my UCL colleague on the left and myself to write down what we want to say, read it out and rewrite it again, to be easy and clear for the viewer to understand. It was only in the afternoon we could set up all this kit and talk to the camera. This is what inspired me during COVID to try and make learning online more fun. You've got all the kit here to start off with, which is camera 2. You then go to camera 1 to look at a sort of conversational aspect of things on Zoom. So it's more like a sort of armchair conversation. And then perhaps we look at the iPad and see the writing on the text, and the student gets the feedback from that. And then they'll look at maybe extra material on the big computer, coming from the internet, PowerPoint and video, and also over my shoulder if I'm demonstrating something by hand on this area of the ironing board. But what's really made everything possible is this little kit. Essential thing about this is a bit symbolic, I think. You don't need all that paraphernalia that we had in school radio, the publications, the film strips and so on, the different sources of information. Now you can do it digitally with this little gadget, and you can switch between spoken and written English as you go. But I suggest that this kit works really so much better when you're using some of those BBC soft skills. But what you do need is this kit in a university setting. And I'm going to pass over to my colleague now, Anthony Basiel, and he's going to explore that with you. If you wish to look closely at these skills in more detail, make contact with me, send me an email, and I'll send you the text of the workup of the script and of course the video. So over to Anthony Basiel now.
Hi, I'm Dr. Anthony Skip Basiel, and this part of our talk concerns the Socratic discussion circle, engagement through a blended webinar design. Thanks for your kind introduction, Mike. For my part of the presentation, we will explore how we applied the Socratic discussion model to a blended webinar event. Let's hear from Socrates now. Go ahead and hit the play button, Mike. Thanks.
The Socratic discussion circle, my dear friends, is a sanctuary for the inquisitive mind. Within its embrace, seekers of truth engage in dialectic discourse, shedding the veil of ignorance that shrouds understanding. Here, we do not merely exchange words, we delve into the depths of inquiry, questioning assumptions and unraveling fallacies. Through respectful dialogue, we foster intellectual growth, nurturing the seeds of wisdom within each participant. It is not a place of dogma or doctrine, but rather a crucible of critical thinking where the flames of curiosity ignite the soul. Join me, and together let us navigate the labyrinth of knowledge.
In a recent Bournemouth University International Learning Technology Conference, we used a synthesis of a Socratic discussion design and augmented reality using a 360 immersive camera to record the face-to-face event. 3 experts in next-generation learning discussed a range of issues and predictions, thanks to Louise Morel, Stephen W. Humphrey, and Mike Howarth as presenters, and David Wortley for creating the AI avatars. Sam Cliff from Klaxoon, our research partners, provided a platform that supported pre-event tasters. During the talk, we did a new type of Turing test, voting online which AI-generated avatar presenter script was written by human and which was generated by AI. The Socratic Circle on and offline audience were able to vote on which script spoken by the avatars was written by a human and which one was AI generated. During the question and answer section of the webinar, delegates were recorded by our Insta360 Pro augmented reality camera in the middle of the Socratic discussion circle. One weakness of the Socratic discussion model is that it can lose focus or branch away from the starting problem. Using a fishbone diagram is one way to track the issues presented and map the narrative towards a conclusion or solution. And here is a summary of our reflections and takeaways from the session. Engagement is helped by a physical and virtual circle. This multicam facilitator podium can promote engagement. Creativity and innovation is encouraged through the discussion. 360-degree recordings can add value to the immersive experience. Well, thanks very much. Mike, I'll pass back over to you.
Right, there we go. I hope that sort of sets the scene for the discussion. Should we now start?
Okay, well, thank you very much.